Hello everybody, my name is The Blown Tire, otherwise known as Will, and today I'm bringing you some Battlefield 3. I am bringing you a weapon review of the AN-94, and this weapon is a strange weapon to say the least, but if you can master it, it is the best weapon on the game, and I'm putting that out there. As my personal opinion, yes, better than the M416, better than the M16, yes, better than the AEK. It is without a doubt one of, or perhaps even the best assault rifle within Battlefield 3. So first of all, I would like to cover the stats of the weapon. That's the basic things in the weapon and what makes the weapon, really. So to start off, it has got a 31 round magazine, 30 plus 1 in the chamber. That's the same with practically all of the weapons in the assault rifle, in the assault class, beg your pardon, except the FAMAS and the G3A3. They're slightly different weapons. I'm not going to go into detail about that. A short reload, so if you've got one bullet left, is 2.45 seconds. That is quite quick for a short reload. It's not the quickest, nor is it the slowest, so bear that in mind whenever you're going for a close quarters engagement. When you've used all your bullets, the reload is 3.3 seconds. That is longer than other weapons in the game, but it's not the longest. Obviously, you'll need to take that into consideration when you're in a CQC scenario or in a firefight. You'll need to think of that prior to actually engage in a target. It has a 0.3 vertical recoil, which is one of the highest in the assault rifle class. It is only beaten, I believe. Let me have a look. It's only beaten by the FAMAS and the G3A3. They're different. They have slightly different purposes though. The FAMAS is for close quarters engagements, and the G3A3 is for longer range engagements. But we will, and so is the AN-94. But we'll get into the slight differences later. It has a 0.2 left recoil and a 0.3 right recoil, so that means the gun is more likely to kick up to the right than it is to the left. So bear that in mind when you're firing more than one burst. But bear in mind, if you're firing this in automatic, you need to bear it in mind that it will go to the right. But if you're firing it in a burst manner, usually the gun will come back down before you can fire the next shot in the burst. So usually you do not need to worry much about the side to side recoil. You just need to worry about the vertical recoil and compensating for that each burst. Other stats, it has a 900 meter maximum range, but if you're using a assault rifle at 900 meters, no matter even if it's this good at long range, if you're using a trying to eliminate enemies from 900 meters away, you're using the weapon all wrong. You've picked the wrong kit. You should decide to pick a sniper rifle, because they can reach 900 meters. It has a 7% suppression assist, which means that each bullet will cause 7% suppression. The only weapon that does that more in the assault class is the G3A3. That's because it fires a heavier, fatter round, just like me. It has a 600 meter per second bullet speed, which is not the quickest within the assault rifle class, but nor is it the slowest. And you need to bear that in mind whenever you're trying to take on further targets, whether you need to lead ahead of them or not. You need to think about that before you engage. And I'd like to bring to you the rounds per minute. The AN-94 is the only weapon within the game that has two quoted fire rates, and these are 600 rounds per minute and 1200 rounds per minute. And people may be wondering, well, how can a gun fire quicker than the other one? And I think I'll explain. As the gun can be fired in fully automatic, burst or single shot mode, there are different, that means the bullets can be fired at different speeds. So when the gun is set for fully auto, it will shoot 600 rounds per minute, hypothetically. Obviously that is not the case in game due to the fact that you do not have a 600 round magazine. You have a 30 round magazine plus one in the chamber, so that means you can't. However, burst fire is 1200 RPM, and that means that the bullet, when you are firing a burst, the second bullet is firing twice as quick as in fully auto. So that means the bullet follows practically the identically same path as the first bullet. So that means you can get 2 shots absolutely perfect into the enemy. And if you are within 8 meters, you can use one burst, and if you shoot them in the head, they will be dead. Obviously, for the way you get, the less likely that is, and all that. So bearing that in mind as well. I always like using the weapon with the burst fire kept on due to the fact that it fires quicker, I believe. I haven't done any tests, but I believe it does, and I will have a little test sometime to just see what it's like, because I think it does, and that would make it quite a strange weapon, and that you'd have no excuse to switch it to fully automatic. That's something which I'd like to put out there. As with any weapon that I review, I'd like to suggest a couple of loadouts I like using with it. So the first loadout I like using is the AN-94, obviously, and I decided to go with the scope which is slightly zoomed in due to the fact it's based for longer range combat. So I decided either to go with the 3.4 times Russian scope, which has a chevron reticle, which is brilliant. It's much better than the American M145 3.4, due to the fact there's not as many lines and markings and everything like that. Or if I'm going for a slightly closer range gunfights with the enemy, I decide to switch to the American holographic. The American holographic allows a little bit of zoom at range as well, so it allows you to do both sets, but doesn't limit you to one or the other. The Cobra the Cobra's good for CQC, but not so good for longer range combat. So that's why I like switching to the holographic sight. As ever, thank you ever so much for watching my weapon review of the AN-94. If you want me to do a weapon review of a certain gun, leave it down in the comments below. I'll happily do it. If you want me to use a certain loadout, either wants me to challenge me, and I will try and do a live com. The only slight problem is of me syncing up the live commentary with the obviously thing that's happening in the game. So yeah, thank you ever so much for watching, guys. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, the links will be in the description. I use it as a little bit of a jokey thing, so I can communicate with you guys as subscribers. But remember, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time out on the battlefield.